Hey everybody, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. This is my fourth show. If you want to call into the show, the number is 313-272-5600. I'd love to take your phone calls on health related issues and any questions. And first of all, I want to start out by thanking Dr. Marshall. Dr. Marshall radio show, if you listen to it often enough, you'll hear him from time to time talk about me and say, oh yeah, go see Jason, he's a good guy. And he taught me a lot. He actually treated me, so I've been treated, and I've gone on a program. So just like I treat other people, I've been treated by Dr. Marshall. So first of all, the second first of all of today is I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. So we got Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow, and you know. Thanksgiving is all about gratitude. It's all about thanks for where we are, and not only in this country, but also just in our personal lives. And let me talk to you a little bit about the science of gratitude. I'm going to get in today in terms of, let's say, this holiday stress and relatives and all of these things. And I've been through many Thanksgivings. And there's the food, there's the family, there's the travel, there's all these different things. And I'll tell you, my personal story is I probably, ever since I was a little kid, I probably had a real allergy or an intolerance to gluten, to wheat. And I, like so many other people, I love wheat. I love the bread. I love the stuffing and all of that stuff. But over a period of time, it really started jamming up my gallbladder and really just hurting me. And so I tell you that there were many Thanksgivings as a kid and as a teenager that I loved, and I had no problem with it. I could eat whatever I wanted, and I had no problem. But I'll tell you, there were many others as it got worse and worse and worse where I dreaded Thanksgiving. So let me also say that I'm on Facebook. You can go to my Facebook Live. I'm right there right now. And so you can actually send some questions and type them in on Facebook. My Facebook is Strategic Healing. And so you can go there and you can see me going on right now. I'm waving to it. So, yes, I've had many Thanksgivings that I suffered for them. I would eat it and it would make me sick and it would make me feel horrible until I finally figured out I just can't do this anymore. So I'm telling you, there's a number of Thanksgivings where I sat with the family and said, no, I can't have it. I'm just going to have the salad, or I'm not really going to eat. I'll sit and talk with you guys, but I can't eat it. And that really helped me an awful lot. People think, well, there's no way I could do that. Yeah, there is. There is a way that you could do that. And for some people, if you are in this time where it's just a loop of the same thing over and over and over again, many people get into the problems with the sugar and then the heavy eating. And it starts with Halloween and then goes into Thanksgiving and then goes into Christmas and then into New Year's, and then it's Super Bowl, and it just doesn't stop. And most people, they don't get a break until summertime. So, but there are many times where it's, what are you really trying to do? And you're trying to enjoy yourself, and you're trying to enjoy yourself being healthy and being happy with everybody else. So my advice here is, if this is you, if it's not even about the diet because you gain weight and then you go through but you just don't feel right, and it's a stress on your body and you feel bloated and you feel horrible for a couple days to a week afterward, maybe this is a good year to take a break. Maybe this is a good year to take a break from eating all of those same things and eat lighter. Maybe this is a time to start fasting today and don't eat a whole bunch so that you can eat it tomorrow, but hang back on it. Maybe sometimes this is a time to actually fast from the people. Maybe not even going. And you got to take care of yourself. And your family loves you when you're loving yourself. So, and then the other thing, let me talk to you about the science of gratitude. So gratitude and thankfulness there's a lot of science behind this, especially the science that is going into cancer research and all kinds of other disease processes, which is A feeling, gratitude, is an attitude, but it's also a hormone. And when we secrete these hormones, there are the happy hormones that actually give us health and reverse the aging process and heal from deeply embedded disease, or dis-ease. They actually start to kill off and beat back the infections, whether it be buried infections like viruses or bacteria, all kinds of things. So being happy is it's the best pill. It's the best therapy. Now, many people, it's like, are you kidding me? I can't be happy around those people because they think I'm this person and I act this way around this way, and then they trigger me, they agitate me, and all these different things. Well, attitude precedes everything. Attitude of gratitude, which is, I'm not going to let them get to me, or if they're going to get to me, I'm very quickly going to turn around. For some people, those anger management types of techniques, which is, if they say the same thing that it just bothers you, count to 10, or just in your mind say they can't help themselves. They don't know who I am, and they think that this is who I am. And maybe you're doing the same thing too, and assuming that you know who other people are, especially in your family. And we just get into modes of habits. And one of the great things about what made our Thanksgivings and our Christmases wonderful to us as children, if they were wonderful, and if they're not wonderful, if they weren't, you can always make them, is that they were new, is that you hadn't seen it before. And so sometimes, the scripture says, behold, I do a new thing. Shall ye not know it? So sometimes we have to do a new thing, and don't be afraid of offending people by hanging back and not, for instance, being baited by the different arguments. Some people have rules that we don't talk about politics and religion and stuff like that. And, sometimes that's a good idea. Sometimes it's a bad idea. Sometimes people really like, I'm faking it. I really want to be myself. So try and be your highest and best, and try and eat as lightly as you possibly can in order to satisfy yourself. Sometimes it is, there's always going to be another one. There's always going to be another one. And if we can kind of get a break from it and have this one be different, people, also our family members and our loved ones, will pick up on that too and say, there's something different about you, and maybe they'll snap out of it too. So that's my 2 cents on, and I know this from my own experience. And by doing that, I now have gotten my Thanksgivings back. Now, I'm able to do what I want, and I've conditioned my family members to, don't assume that I'm gonna do everything that you're gonna do, because I'm doing what I need to for myself, and now I can enjoy it. Now there's not the pressure, and now, because I've cleaned my body out year after year after year, now even the things that bothered me don't bother me as much. And now also too, I'm not confused about what did it. So now I can choose it. So now I kind of am more prepared for it. And so they know, okay, if I'm going to eat this pie or eat this sugar or something like that, I'm certainly going to suffer for it. But I've prepared myself, and now it's not a mystery. And it's the volunteer poison. So sometimes that's very, very helpful, because it really just gives us the ability to really be thankful and really be present and really be able to get the most out of the time with our family and with ourselves. So I've got some questions that have come in over the past week that I'm going to answer. So if there's any other questions, again, call 313-272-5600. That's the call-in radio line. You can see me on Facebook Live right now. I'm at Strategic Healing Facebook Live. If you ever really want to call into and maybe book an appointment, you can call my number, 734-985-5891. That's Strategic Healing. And we're going to take a break here and take a commercial break, and we'll be back, and we'll start answering some questions that I have and give you a little bit of time to call in. So here we go.
Skin irritation irritations do you have? Eczema, rashes, acne? Is your energy level in the basement? Are you trying to cope with depression or anxiety? Is your tummy always upset? If your body could talk to you, what would it tell you? Well, it does talk to you. It's the listening part that's tricky. But not with the amazing biocommunication technique, QRA, Quantum Reflex Analysis, the highly effective system by which your body can communicate its true needs. Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills is your natural health authority, and he is the expert in using QRA to get to the root of your health issues, then develop the plan to get you back to feeling great again. Find out what's really happening with your body with your in-depth QRA evaluation with Jason Eagle. Call 734-985-5891 for your appointment with Jason at Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills. It'll change your life for the better. Call 734-985-5891 today.
Okay, everybody, we're back. This is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority for strategic healing. And so this first question that we got that was sent in to me this last week is arthritis. I have arthritis, and there's different types of arthritis, whether it be rheumatoid arthritis or there can be arthritis all over the body, whether it's going to be the knuckle joints of your hands or the toes or the elbows, or people can get arthritis even in their spine, and they feel it deep in their spine. So what is arthritis? Well, worldwide research basically says that there's a number one underlying cause for most arthritis, and that's infection. Intestinal infection. It all starts in the gut. Intestinal infection in terms of what we call dysbiosis, and a dysbiosis. So biosis means bio is living, osis is living. And we're supposed to have the right type of habitation, meaning the right type of bacteria and yeasts and all these different types of living life forms that live in us. And a dysbiosis means meaning there's too many of the bad guys. There's too many, or there's just not enough, and it's just all messed up. So it starts with our eating, it starts with our exposures, it starts with our minerals, low minerals, meaning how do we get these infections in the first place? We're covered with these bugs and things like that. They're all over us. And part of it too is that the worldwide research shows that some of the sickest kids, sickest people are the ones that live in the cleanest homes, which is, this whole 1950s and 60s white lab coat and hand sanitizer type of thing was wrong. It really created it's just like overdoing the antibiotics creates a superbugs, because the whole balance between of what's supposed to be there gets completely messed up, and then the bullies just take over. So, the research shows is that the kids that are raised with the moms that let their kids crawl on the floor and, put their hands in their mouth, like, they're not bad moms, they're good moms. And if you were raised in the 60s and 70s, that's what we did. And now we look at the kids that are younger and right now, and there's just so many hosts of all different types of they're very weak, and they have very weak immune system. So a lot of times this infection started when we were younger. So what are some of the things that we can do that are anti-infectives? Number one is stop eating the crap. Start eating more whole foods. You can actually heal infection by eating more whole foods. The essential fatty acids, which is fat got a bad name, but there are good fats and good healthy whole fats. And so one of the bad fats is if this is an oil that's sitting on the shelf that you're cooking with, whether it be a corn oil or a soybean oil, and if it's in a white clear bottle, that's a bad no-no, because what happens is it gets light destroys the oil, and oxygen destroys the oil, and it rancidifies the oil, and then it goes and it turns into what's called a free radical, which is extremely damaging. The hydrogenated oils, they're more harm than good. Our body goes, oh my goodness, what am I going to do about this? Like, this is something that I got to clean up. I can't do anything with this. So usually our body is robbing Peter to pay Paul in order to clean up the mess. So eating more whole foods. If you eat out, make better choices. There's some really good restaurants now that you can, but eat home more often. If you start bringing your foods in with you more often, and that will, number one, that will help with the infection and start clearing up arthritis. I know people that have done a juice fast. You go, a lot of the stores right now, Kroger's and Myers, they have these cold pressed juices. Which is, usually when you want to go with the greens, and just start drinking some more green juices and things like that. Those are so cleansing. The chlorophyll that's in it is so cleansing for the joints. Now, there's some supplements that I have that I only use Premier Research Labs. Now, I also do recommend some standard process things, and I don't carry those, but I can send you to some people that carry those. But let's just start with the Premier Research Labs. If you want to get a hold of any of these things that I mentioned, you can call me. You can order them online from my office. And so let's start with number one, allicin. Allicin is garlic. Allicin is the real powerful part of garlic and onions. And what they do is they naturally concentrate it, and then they mix it with this stuff called bear garlic, which is the leaves of bear garlic. It's a German garlic that is super, super strong that most people can't even eat it. But it's in a capsule form, and one of the things that garlic does is it is an antibiotic, it is an antimicrobial, it is an anti-yeast, antifungal. It is a broad spectrum, everything. Plus, it heats up the blood. It actually is a blood thinner. It makes your blood move better. So if you are on some blood thinning medications, be careful with this in terms of don't overdo it. But there really aren't any limitations on eating garlic if you're on blood thinner. That's going to go after the bacterial stuff. Then we get into so most of what we find in terms of, like, we know this when let's say a doctor has done surgery on your bad knuckles. If you were to culture those knuckles, you would find that these bacterias and viruses and parasites, they live in there. And one of the reasons they live in there is because there's no direct blood flow directly in your, especially synovial joints. God made us incredibly, fearfully, wonderfully made. And the reason is because, you dislocate knuckles, you pop knuckles and joints, they're the bendy parts, and they're going to break faster than a whole bone. So if there was blood flow that's directly in there, you could rupture those and you could bleed to death. So God made us this way where the blood surrounds it. So the nutrients and the oxygen and all this other stuff that gets in there, it gets in there passively. Well, that becomes a just prime breeding ground for these bugs that get out of the bloodstream, especially these what's called anaerobic ones. They get out of the bloodstream, they get away from the oxygen, and they hide inside your joints. So the viral componentry of it is this called Immunoven, and Immunoven has what's called olive leaf. It's one of the main things. There's not very many antivirals, but there's elderberry flowers, which is called sambucus, and there's olive leaf, and there's a whole bunch of other things that target the virus. And so going on an antiviral. There's also an antiviral diet, which is what's called lysine. There's all these different amino acids that are in our foods, especially meats and dairy and all kinds of things. And lysine is one of them. So lysine basically sedates and turns off the mechanisms of communication for the viruses. It literally drives them out. Now, arginine is the thing that feeds the viruses, right? So there's high arginine foods, and then there's high lysine foods. So an antiviral diet is high in lysine and low in arginine. Go ahead and look that up. If you have any questions, I can get that to you, but there's a lot that goes into it. But I'm going to let you do a little of that work yourself, which is look into it. If you're an old person, if your grandma's sitting at home, have one of your grandkids or somebody in the house help you and get on the computer and start looking these things up, and have them help to train you. If you're listening to the radio and you've not been on a computer, go to the library, have someone take you in there and start doing some of this research on these things that I talked to you about. about. And the reason is because there's no replacement for your own knowledge. Even me, there's no replacement for your own knowledge. Another thing that we can do that is a topical treatment, a lot of people put the creams and things like that. Topical treatment for arthritis is neem oil mixed with limonene. Limonene is this orange oil, and it acts as delivering it deeply in. And you just kind of mix them together and rub them into your joints. And it is so pain relieving. It really helps. But because the neem is anti-infective, the neem actually kills the bacteria and viruses and all these other things and starts to give you a lot of relief on your joints, whether it be your knuckles, whether it be your elbows, whether it be your knees, a shoulder. It's kind of like the old-time liniment. But it has, like I said, a real pain relieving quality, but it gets to the bottom of it, which is it treats the infection that's living inside your joint. So we're going to take another break here for a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
How long have you been struggling with your health issues? Are you still living in pain? What kind of skin irritations do you have? Eczema, rashes, acne? Is your energy level in the basement? Are you trying to cope with depression or anxiety? Is your tummy always upset? If your body could talk to you, what would it tell you? Well, it does talk to you. It's the listening part that's tricky. But not with the amazing biocommunication technique, QRA, Quantum Reflex Analysis, the highly effective system by which your body can communicate its true needs. Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills is your natural health authority, and he is the expert in using QRA to get to the root of your health issues, then develop the plan to get you back to feeling great again. Find out what's really happening with your body with your in-depth QRA evaluation with Jason Eagle. Call 734-985-58.
10 seconds.
Appointment with Jason at Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills. It'll change your life for the better. Call 734-985-5891 today.
Okay, everybody, this is Jason Eagle, your Natural Health Authority. The radio call-in number is 313-272-5600. You can go to my website, that's strategichealing.us. You can go to my Facebook. You can see me live on Facebook. I got some people watching there, and my Facebook page is Strategic Healing, and you can type in the questions there or just watch me. So, and then the other thing that is really great about the Facebook Live, and I also post this on YouTube Live or YouTube. My YouTube channel is Jason Eagle QRA. Is that the radio show? If you're not here, if you don't hear it, you miss it. Whereas the Facebook Live and the YouTube is going to be there forever, so you can refer back to it, so you can hear these shows over and over and over again. And what was that? What did he talk about? What was it? So you can go back, and it's archived for you. So these radio shows are and all video are archived for you on my page, Strategic Healing Facebook, and Jason Eagle QRA on YouTube. We're going to get to this next question here, and that one's carpal tunnel. Carpal tunnel, I tell you what, now, I'm a body worker. I specialize in very specific bodywork technique, deep tissue massage, myofascial release, neuromuscular therapy, this very, very specific type of so I've worked on people with carpal tunnel, and I'm telling you, carpal tunnel is, people that get surgeries for carpal tunnel, it is one of the most unsuccessful surgeries, meaning it didn't do what it's supposed to do. Now a person can't hold even a piece of paper, and the pain's not gone. So let's get into, like, where does carpal tunnel come from? Yes, it's sitting at your computer too long and all these other things, but hold on one second. And wet my whistle. I'm drinking my green drink, if you see them. So the things I talk about, I do. Okay. So a lot of times it's coming from your neck. It's coming from your vertebrae, and in particular, it's coming from C7T1, because that's the vertebrae that where the nerve that goes out to your arm. And the carpal tunnel, I call it a tunnel because it literally is like a tunnel of the bone where the nerve goes through, and then it has like a ligament that's on top of it. And so the carpal tunnel is swollen. So now, what is swelling it? Okay, again, just like I talked about arthritis, this is going to be a theme in the shows: infection, infection, infection. Anytime we're dealing with a swelling or a swelling of a nerve, anytime we're dealing with swelling, you have to consider that there's infection. And again, what leads to infection? Low minerals, not having enough minerals. So people should be taking their sea salt and eating mineralized food and eating their greens with lots of good minerals, eating grass-fed beef and eating, farm-raised salmon, or not farm-raised, I'm sorry, fresh-caught salmon, wild-caught salmon, wild-caught sardines, eating lamb. These things, they're grazing on really good grass and they're getting lots of minerals. So another thing that leads to the carpal tunnel is just low B vitamins. People don't have enough. Now, there's a B vitamin that I carry, which is Premier Research Labs makes probably 3 different products that actually have the B vitamins. One's a liquid form called Max Stress B, and these are all probiotically generated, meaning they are in what's called the end chain form. Most stuff, if you buy something from these big box stores, a B vitamin, they are synthetic, they are junk, they literally are the not right form, and so your body actually has to transform them into a form. So it's kind of like, when you get a present that you have to assemble in order to it takes so much energy to actually unpack it and make it that you lose most of it. So Max Stress B is a whole food form. They have a complete B, they have a phytomethylate, there's all these great natural end chain forms, meaning as soon as it goes into your body, boom, it goes right into your bloodstream, and it's the type that your body says, oh, I don't have to do anything to fix this, it's already perfect for me. So these are some of the things that we would. So again, going back to the infection, is not eating junk, eating more whole foods. Whether it be the bacterial, that's going to be the allicin, it's going to be the viral, that's going to be the immunoven. We have things called mycoplasms, which hyssop. That was the thing that Jesus on the cross, that they soaked a hyssop flowers in some vinegar and they gave it to him because it relieves pain, and pain is infection. It was relieving, and he refused it because he said, no, I'm going to go through it. So then getting back to this is like, I highly recommend a chiropractor. I highly recommend a chiropractic adjustment. You'll have so many people that literally went to the surgeon and said, oh yeah, I'll do it. And they go and see the right chiropractor, and then it's gone. It's gone within one adjustment. So the chiropractor I really love, he's my personal chiropractor. I sent a lot of people to him. His name is Dr. Tent. Dr. Tent is in Novi. You can go, it's what's called Diverse Health Services. He's got a great YouTube channel, and you can see his videos. He's got videos that have gone all over the world. But their number is 248-477-0380. This is your man. This is the man. He does the muscle testing like you. In fact, he was the very first person ever did muscle testing on me. I give a lot of credence to Dr. Tent and Dr. Marshall. They're the reason why I do what I do. But he will adjust you, or he will test you and find out where it's coming from. And I'm telling you, save yourself from, like, again, if you have to have the surgery, you can always do that. But Dr. Marshall used to say this to me. This is what he said to me about my gallbladder, which is you cannot take back a surgery. So it's kind of like measure 20 times before you cut once. And sometimes, many times, you don't need to cut. And especially with the carpal tunnel surgery, the success rate is so low that it's not worth it. And you're going to have a scar for the rest of your life. So I highly recommend these things in terms of getting into maybe getting it adjusted, or maybe getting some body work, some deep tissue massage, and to break up the scar tissue that may be forming inside the brachial plexus, which is the nerve that comes right over the shoulder and goes all the way down the arm. So then we got another question here. And again, the radio show call-in number is 313-272-5600. Happy Thanksgiving. We got it coming up tomorrow. Remember, be careful. And this leads into Thanksgiving, which is constipation. Oh my goodness. That was one of the things that I faced after, not to be too personal, but that's what this show is. I tell it like it is. And I'm telling you, that was the thing that happened to me. Is so many years of going to Thanksgiving and eating to my heart's delight and not being able to have a bowel movement for 2 to 3 days, or sometimes weeks. I went through where I couldn't have bowel movements for 2 weeks. I remember one time I actually went into the emergency room because I thought that I had a heart attack. I thought I was having a stroke. There was ringing in my ears and everything like that, and they did all the tests on me, and they found that I was just full of it. I had impacted stools, and that was what was happening. It was putting pressure on my bloodstream. It was putting pressure on what's called the abdominal aorta, which is back going back up into my heart, and it was raising my blood pressure, and it was really because I was just so full of crap. And so I went on a fast. I did some colonics. I did some a number of different things in terms of cut out the wheat, ate more of the vegetables, these types of things. So that's the number one thing with constipation. If you struggle with constipation, it is bad food. You are eating processed food, and you should be eating more whole foods, more raw whole foods, as well as cooked vegetables and lots of vegetables, lots of this plant-based matter. This is where oatmeal comes in. Oatmeal can be so good because it holds on to liquid. Another really good thing is called galactin, which is called arabinogalactin. It's this powder that I sell here from Premier Research Labs, and you mix it in some water, and it is a prebiotic, but it actually holds onto moisture so that you don't have these hard impacted stools. Another thing that is constipation is adrenals, bad adrenals, adrenal insufficiency or adrenal fatigue. And for that, we have what's called Adrenaven, and we also have salt, meaning making sure that you're taking salt, making sure that you're having enough salt. Because salt holds onto water, and your cells need salt, and so they then suck the water deep into it, and it makes you hold water in your bowels. A lot of times it's magnesium deficiency. If you don't have enough magnesium, you are going to, your muscles don't work correctly, and it's the peristaltic action. Your guts don't work, meaning the undulation of moving food through the tubes, kind of like, our nerves work just like if you saw, let's say, a millipede walk or like a snake move. It's this blah, 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 and that's how things move. Well, sometimes our nerves get paralyzed and they don't have enough of the relaxing. There's the contraction, which is calcium, and then there's the relaxation or the relaxing of a muscle, which is magnesium. And all along your whole alimentary canal, it's this combination of, like, you are like, of squeezing frosting out of you, like a piping frosting out. You got to squeeze, or squeezing a tube of toothpaste. You don't just squeeze it. You have to squeeze it from here, and then, like milking a cow, is you have to squeeze at the top and release it, and then it squeezes, and it kind of goes in a pattern. That's what's called the peristaltic action. And so magnesium is the thing that helps it. All right, we're going to come back in a second and answer some more questions, but we're going to take a commercial break right now. Okay.
How long have you been struggling with your health issues? Are you still living in pain? What kind of skin irritations do you have? Eczema, rashes, acne? Is your energy level in the basement? Are you trying to cope with depression or anxiety? Is your tummy always upset? If your body could talk to you, what would it tell you? Well, it does talk to you. It's the listening part that's tricky. But not with the amazing biocommunication technique, QRA, Quantum Reflex Analysis, the highly effective system by which your body can communicate its true needs. Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills is your natural health authority, and he is the expert in using QRA to get to the root of your health issues, then develop the plan to get you back to feeling great again. Find out what's really happening with your body with your in-depth QRA evaluation with Jason Eagle. Call 785-5891 for your appointment with Jason at Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills. It'll change your life for the better. Call 734-985-5891 today.
Okay, everybody, we're back. This is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. There's still time to call into the show. It's 313-272-5600. I'm answering your calls on health and related issues. And let's talk about QRA. What does QRA stand for? I've had people who've called up and they say QRA, they think it starts with a C. No, it's Q, which is Quantum Reflex Analysis. What is quantum reflex analysis? This was invented by Dr. Bob Marshall and his wife, Dr. Linda Forbes, and he had a clinic out in California and Texas and started up a company that was manufacturing these products that are the only cellular resonant in the whole world. They do everything because what it is This is a quantum world in physics, in terms of what is the physical world, what is the world. Now the Bible talks about which is the things that are seen are made from the things that are unseen. The visible material matter of the universe is made from the immaterial, or like it says in creation, that the word was what was spoken, and then that all reality came from that. Well, what is that? Word is a vibration. It is a wave. It is, and a wave is not a thing. It's an artifact of the thing. So quantum reflex analysis means is essentially it is the marriage between Western medicine, which is we're Western medicine, which is understanding physiology, medical school, all of this other stuff, right? And the way that we do medicine here, Eastern medicine, which is that's the Chinese, the Ayurvedic, which is that's been around for thousands of years before we've been around, and they get into what's called the acupuncture meridians, which have all been. This is not woo woo. This has all been verified from science, because we are. This is the electric universe. We are electromagnetic beings. Because again, people go, oh, I don't know if I believe that. Well, okay, have your heart stop, and we're going to call the paramedic. And what are they going to do? They're going to use the paddles, and they're going to shock your body to start your heart back up again. And so then your heart is, so that means that you are electromagnetic. That's what's running the thing. There's nothing woo woo. There's nothing evil about it. It's just, this is what our body is we are this flesh electromagnetic being. We're this computer, this living computer. And so that's where we get into the quantum part of it, which is it's Western medicine, Eastern medicine, and quantum physics. Because quantum physics talks about the smaller than the small, which is what's really running the show. And what's really running the show, the physics of our body is coming from this energy. And and that's why mind over matter. That's why your attitude matters. It matters, okay? It's the material. It materializes your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings determine what matter you are. So, and there are rules behind this. There are rules in the physics of what we call atomic structures, but then there's the subatomic structures, which there's different rules, and those rules seem to kind of go against what you would see, but they are the operational rules. And so quantum reflex analysis is a way of actually using your internal computer system, per se, your neurologic system, to test your system and to fix your system. Because if I could ask your body, if you could ask your own system what's going on, it doesn't lie about it. You can't hide. So this is my analogy to what quantum reflex analysis is. Just the testing alone is an old car, like a Model T or something like that, or a 1950s car. If you want to fix it, you got to open up the hood and you got to start pulling things off and all this other stuff, right? It's kind of like what Western medicine is to a certain extent, which is we're looking for stuff in the blood. We're looking, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's other systems. So like, for instance, a modern car is you take it to the garage and they plug the computer into it. The computer is an integrated circuitry system, and the car will tell you what's up with the car. Your body will tell me, and I'll tell you, and then we'll figure it out. And this gives us a way to go through each one of your organ glands and say every part of your body. We can even kind of test your skin. We can test your eyes. We can test your hormones, which you can test each one of your hormonal organs individually and find out what's going on with them. And then come up with a program of, okay, you need some of this for here and some of this for here. And then we bring it all together, because you can take things individually, but it's as a whole. And so what happens is what we're trying to do is find out what's individual, but we also want to find out what's as a whole. So we got a call here right now. I'm going to take that call. So go ahead, caller. Hello. Oh, oh, very good. Yes, go ahead. Oh, very good. Yes. Oh, please do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
and you put me on a course of supplements, and I think it was about 6 weeks. I mean, you cured it, you fixed it. I felt great again. So I just wanted to encourage your listeners that this is real. This works. When the doctors can't find out what's going on, you pinpoint it right on. It's wonderful.
That's great. Who is this again? Oh yeah, Denise. Yeah, it's so good to hear from you. Yeah, I remember you. I remember the things that we went through with you. But yes, that's very typical. You know, this was typical even for me when I started this program. When I got tested, it was 2 weeks, and this was after taking a bunch of this and a bunch of that. Maybe it works, but after 2 weeks, it worked so dramatically that I was just blown away that I said, okay, I got to do this. This is what I'm doing this for the rest of my life. So, Denise, I really appreciate you calling in and telling your story. And you're feeling good right now, right? Okay, go ahead. It is a good idea, but here's the thing: is what's a better idea is living a life that, like, so Adrenoven is helpful for weak adrenals. However, what's great, what keeps your adrenals from getting weak is number one, having correct sleep, sleeping those 5 hours through the night and not having to get up and go pee. If you got to get up and go pee, then you definitely stop drinking at least 3 hours before you go to sleep, right? And fully empty the bladder, and that maybe helps. Making sure you have enough salt in your diet, because salt makes you hold. See, if you have too much salt, it's going to make you go pee, or if you have too little salt, it's making make you go pee often too. But when you have just the right amount of salt, which is an average human being, probably 150 pounds or more, that's about a full teaspoon of salt. As long as you can kind of get that most days, you're going to be fine. And right. Right. So no, it's good to keep maybe if you start. And here's the other thing: is you don't have to ask me, because you've been doing this long enough and you know what your body feels like, and so you start experimenting with your body. So yes, keep the Adrenaven on the shelf and maybe pop a couple of them here if you start to feel a little bit low and it starts to do its job, and then get off of it again. But this is not something like what we fix indeed, and you're never going to get, like, you've bought yourself another 20 years of getting into that deep hole again. So don't be afraid anymore. It's like, oh, if this is going to come back, it's not going to come back. And if it ever does, to a certain state, you're going to head it off in the past, and you're going to know what to do because you've already been there before. Now I don't question anymore about, like, is this going to work or does this work? You know that you know, and that's what it's all about.
I know a lot of people don't know about QRA, so I just wanted to encourage you and the listeners, about the validity of this and how right on it is, power on, when the doctors can't find the answer sometimes.
Great. That's so wonderful. I thank you for calling, and I look forward to hearing more. Yeah, all right, more of your good news. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye. All right, everybody, I'm going to take one more commercial break here, and we'll be back.
How long have you been struggling with your health issues? Are you still living in pain? What kind of skin irritations do you have? Eczema, rashes, acne? Is your energy level in the basement? Are you trying to cope with depression or anxiety? Is your tummy always upset? If your body could talk to you, what would it tell you? Well, it does talk to you. It's the listening part that's tricky. But not with the amazing biocommunication technique, QRA, Quantum Reflex Analysis, the highly effective system by which your body can communicate its true needs. Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills is your natural health authority, and he is the expert in using QRA to get to the root of your health issues, then develop the plan to get you back to feeling great again. Find out what's really happening with your body with your in-depth QRA evaluation with Jason Eagle. Call 735-5891 for your appointment with Jason at Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills. It'll change your life for the better. Call 734-985-5891 today.
All right, everybody. This is Jason Eagle, your Natural Health Authority. The number to call in is 313-272-5600. My Facebook Live is Strategic Healing. You can see me on Facebook right now. And we're going to go to that next question, which is stretch marks. Stretch marks is not just from pregnant women. You've had a lot of kids that got stretch marks because as teenagers, they get growth spurts. And so you'll get women that get stretch marks around, like under the arms where the breasts are. Or they'll get stretch marks along their thighs. And, I know people have had them their whole life, or you get stretch marks around your belly. Or let's say a person has gained weight and then lost weight, and now they got all these stretch marks in the first place. And, what can we do to fix it? But how do we stop these stretch marks before they even happen? You're going to get pregnant, right? And how do we make sure I don't get stretch marks after, so I can bounce back after that baby's out? Okay, stretch marks. One of the number one causes of stretch marks is a zinc deficiency. Zinc is one of these minerals that, again, that's supposed to be in our life all around, and we don't need a whole lot of it, but we do need some of it. And again, there is such deficient zinc in our foods. Now people go, I eat cereal and it says that it has zinc in it, and I eat these. That's fake junk. It is what's called inorganic minerals in our body. The way that they do these inorganic minerals is that when you eat them, they show up in the bloodstream. They show up in the blood serum. But that doesn't mean that it's actually in your organs. It doesn't mean that it gets to where your body needs it. It's just kind of floating around there. And a lot of times, the minerals that are inside, and these fortified things that are inside, whether it be box cereal or pasta or all this other stuff, fortified rice, is they jam your body up. They jam up your kidneys. They jam up your arteries. They get stuck in your liver. They get stuck. The iron that gets stuck in your liver. A lot of times when people have low iron, it's because their liver is so full of this fortified iron junk. You can do an experiment with this. You'll have fun with this. Take some, let's say, cornflakes, and put them in a blender, and either dry or with a little bit of water, and pulverize it, right? And can zip it up, and then take a magnet and put it on the outside of that, right on the, and you'll see all of these metal, like they look like metal shavings that are, that's inside there. You can take a magnet and crunch up a bunch of let's say cornflakes or other type of cereal or stuff like that, and then stick it in the bag, and you'll have all of these things. Like, where did this come from? Iron that's in your body should not come from that. Iron should be, let's say beets is very high in iron. Liver is very high in iron. And it's an organic form that your body goes, well, great, now I know what to do with this. So stretch marks is zinc. So one of the very first things that I would put people on is what's called these pH minerals. It's these liquid drops. And it comes from a Utah seabed, very, very clean, but old ancient seabed that has all of these minerals, and then they turned it into a liquid form. It has the best form of magnesium that a body can have, which is called magnesium chloride, which you're never going to find that anywhere else. You'll find magnesium sulfate, you'll find magnesium lactate, all these different things as a supplement. So this is the best type of form that you can take, is the pH minerals. There's also what's called the zinc assay. If we need to take zinc, people, they get these lozenges and they stick it under their tongue. Again, a zinc liquid is the best to take, and I sell it here. You can get a hold of it. It's this liquid, and you just put a couple capfuls in your mouth. And the neat thing about what's called the zinc assay, which is if you need zinc, we use this in the office to test people. We go, well, how do you know I'm low in zinc? Okay, take 2 capfuls of this water. And if it tastes just like pure water, nothing, then you're fine. You have enough zinc. But if it starts to taste like you sucked on a nickel, you're low on zinc. Or if it, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. If it tastes like nothing, you are very, very low in zinc. If it tastes, it just tastes like water, you need it. If it starts to taste like a nickel, then it's starting. And if it tastes horrible, and it literally is like, oh my God, like what is that? And it lasts in your mouth for like 2 to 3 minutes, then you're fine on zinc. Most people, when I do the zinc assay, they go, it's water. It's nothing. Just take, that means you're very, very low in zinc. Okay. The other thing about stretch marks is very low in essential fatty acids, not eating enough of the fatty foods. So get your children eating essential fatty acids. Get your children eating the fish, eating the nuts. Eating raw nuts that you soak in water for like a good purified water for about 20 minutes or overnight, and then you dump the water out. And if you want those nuts to then be crunchy again, then you put them in the oven on like a cookie sheet, and you put it on as low as it can go, leave the door cracked, and let them dry out. You can buy what's called sprouted nuts. The reason is because there's an enzyme that's in these nuts that will block mineral absorption unless it goes into the water. So if you're eating a raw nut, even though it's good, that enzyme will go into your digestive tract, and it actually can cause. So people that eat lots of nuts can find they have a lot of intestinal distress and have a lot of mineral deficiencies and a lot of essentially fatty acid deficiencies. And they're like, wait a minute, I'm eating this. Well, it's one of these tricks. You got to know chemistry. And so eating the raw nuts that you soak in water, and then if you, like I said, if you want to dry them out, you can do them, make a whole batch over the weekend, and you can have nuts. The best nuts are going to be cashews and walnuts and pecans, and those macadamia nuts are super high in essential fatty acids. Many times people have a jammed up gallbladder and they cannot absorb the fat. So they eat it, but it doesn't go into the system because fat is fat, and oil and water don't mix. And so you have to have an emulsifier, which is your gallbladder should be working. But most people, Americans, have weak gallbladders, jammed up gallbladders. So for that, we use what's called the limonene or lecithin. Limonene is this little orange oil, and you put a couple, 2 to 3 drops in some water, and then anytime you eat the fat, whether it's the DHA in a pill form or the EPA, which is actually a number of different fishes, but eat the foods. And if you're struggling and you really want to protect yourself from getting these stretch marks or heal the stretch marks, increase your fatty acids. And I do recommend most Americans kind of add some sort of emulsifier like the orange oil, the limonene, with that. One more thing about stretch marks is antioxidants. We're very low in antioxidants because most people don't. So antioxidants, it's the greens. In the foods, it's the foods with the most color. Why? So plants, whether it be fruits or vegetables that have the most color, means they've got exposed to the most sun. These are plants that grow full sun, and they get seemingly damaged. They get sunburns just like they do. So what they do is they create a suntan. They build in their body structure these colors, which is that radiates the radiation back. But what it also does is God made this world so amazing, which is things that weaken anything, if you use it right, it actually spins you faster. So what would weaken me, if I have the correct approach to it, you don't make me weak, you just make me stronger. So the foods with the colors, that's going to be like pomegranates, and that's going to be grapes and things like that. Now, as far as supplements, that's the green tea, the super nano green tea, which is this fermented green tea. And you just take about a teaspoon, and that's worth probably 40 cups of green tea. And the antioxidants that are in green tea are spectacular, will help you lose a little bit of weight too. One of the other ones is what's called astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is this antioxidant that's in krill. And so that's why, the fish, in terms of like salmon, is red. It's because they're eating this krill, and they eat these antioxidants, these little tiny little shrimp, and there's super high levels of antioxidant. Antioxidants takes damage and repairs the damage, but it actually takes the things that would damage it and makes you stronger. It's amazing. It's hard to describe what antioxidants are, because it's not just a protection against damage. It's like, go ahead and hit me. You're just going to make me stronger. It's kind of like kung fu. Antioxidants is like kung fu, which is the harder you hit me, the harder I'm going to hit back, and nothing happens to me. So this is amazing, the way that God made this world. And again, is if you ever have any questions, what should I do? First of all, you can give me a call, 734-985-5891. You can go to my website, strategichealing.us. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is Jason Eagle QRA. I have 100 and some videos on all of these different questions, and I answer them. And the videos are neat because I show a lot of pictures, and then I even do some anatomy type of things. So you'll learn so much about your body, about what's going on and what to do about it, which is, My big thing is I'm in business to help you here, but my soul is in business to get you to help yourself. I really like it when people learn to be self-sufficient and what we call sovereign. We should be sovereign human beings. We should be a sovereign country. And sovereignty means I have it all within me and I can provide it for myself. And so, this knowledge about what to do for the body, come to me and do your research. But then, once you get it and you know what works, just like I said to the last lady, now you don't have to come to me. Now you can experiment with your own body. You can find it yourself and start using your body as your own testing mechanism, which is, how does this make me feel when I do this? Now, a lot of times when we're really sick in the beginning, you can't feel anything. You're just so deep in damage that it would not be right for you to feel. Your body's protecting you from feeling it because you're in such deep doo-doo that if you felt how you felt, you would run screaming. So usually it's about getting healing first, and then the feeling starts to come back. And many times people, like, I can eat a food and I feel it immediately. I feel the energy from it. I have a farm. I have my own animals, and I just ate some of the chicken livers. We had to process some chickens, and fresh chicken livers and fresh chicken hearts that, like, I felt the energy out of immediately, like more than coffee. I felt the mineralization. I felt it. Or, like, for instance, when I drink my green juices, I feel the vibrancy. Now, if you did this to me 10 years ago, I'd feel nothing. I wouldn't feel, I tasted it and tasted good, but it had nothing to do with how I felt energy wise. You start cleaning the body up, you start re-nutrifying the body, you start bringing it back, you start erasing this infection, all of these different stresses and things like that. Then the body will then start to go, wow, and it will immediately respond to you, and you become your own, like, metal detector, which is, or, like, for instance, a blind person can get sight just by tapping the stick and by living in a room that they've tapped all around, and now it's turned into, they don't even need to tap anymore. Some blind people use sound where they'll click their mouth and they can hear with their ears. And so you can make this invisible world visible to you, and so you don't have to really be dependent upon anybody. Now, in the beginning phases, you need help, and I'm here to help. So my number is 734-985-5891. You can call, you can schedule your appointment. In fact, you can go to my website, strategichealing.us, and you can schedule your own appointments. You go up to the very top and it says schedule. You click on that and you click the button that says initial QRA. That's an hour and a half, and that's plenty of time for me to go from top to bottom, inside and out, and figure everything out, and then send you home with a program of eat this way, take these supplements, sleep this way, do these types of exercises, these types of things, and day after day, week after week, you will feel the difference. You won't question anymore. Many times the biggest disease is, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what's going on. I hear all of these different things and this and that, and I've tried this, and or even people that have had the surgeries, and it's like, it didn't help. What am I going to do now? Well, the reason for it is that you just weren't taking care of yourself, and it's such a confusing world that you do need help. And I'm here to help you. But I'm here to then hand and pass the mental off to you so that you can help yourself. So this is Jason Eagle, your Natural Health Authority. I look forward to hearing you and talking to you next time. I'll see you next Wednesday. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, Jason. See you next week.
Strategic healing.
Great. Thank you.
Jason will help you live
Have a blessed day.
You too.
healthier life naturally. As a certified practitioner in multiple healing modalities, Jason creates a finely tuned and highly personalized program just for you that will get you back to living your best life. Get started today by calling 734-985-5891 to make your appointment, or go online to strategichealing.us. Strategic Healing is located at 2545 North Opdyke Road, Suite 106A in Auburn Hills. Ask the Experts with Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing can be heard every Wednesday at 1 p.m. right here on WRDT, the Word Station. The The materials and information provided in this broadcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended for use as diagnosis, prevention, or treatment of a health or other problem, or as a substitute for consulting a licensed medical professional. Some concepts presented herein may be theoretical and have little or no scientific substantiation. Users are advised to conduct their own diligence. He doesn't know.
Okay, you Facebook, thanks for watching. I will see you next time, and tell people about this. Tell people you can actually go even to RDT, which is the people can listen live online, but let people know. Encourage people to watch this and send in some. I need more questions, especially from Facebook. I need some more interaction. So do your part to encourage people to come here, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Okay, bye-bye.